Hey guys, welcome to another part of our interior Godrays tutorial. This is gonna be a long one, so let's get started straight ahead. I've cleaned up the scene. As you can see, I've attached all the objects together basically by a material, so it's a really clean scene that consists out of about 14 objects. One of which is camera, so 13, and basically we will be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 materials in the entire scene. And before we do that, let's set up some temporary lighting, so we have some environment to shade our materials in, and let's also mess a little bit with the render settings. In the render settings, basically all I want to do is to increase filtering a little bit, so our interactive preview will be a little bit blurry, but we will get slightly faster feedback due to that. Everything else seems in order. And since this is a scene that has quite small windows openings and it's kind of deep dark room, this is ideal scenario for light portals, so let's set up those now. So let me just isolate this object. Let's get some plane, enable snapping, just one by one. Oops, one by one, and yep. I need to get some right angle to snap the plane. Yep, like this. I'm gonna duplicate the geometry. Again, try to snap it right on the corner. Duplicate it once again. Rotate it 90 degrees. Again, try to snap it on the corner. It may be a little easier if I do it from the top view. If I can manage to actually grab the corner, so maybe this will be easier. Yep. And let's duplicate once more. Okay. Let's now just select the top edges and pull them out a little bit so we cover the entire windows. I'm gonna flip the normals, then I'm gonna make my material object transparent by enabling X-ray feature, and I'm gonna just delete this and create Corona portal material. Great, let's call it portal MTL. Let's call this our portals. Let's assign the material, and that is it for our portals. Great. We do just a quick test render. Everything looks nice. Oops, I got a part of the scene isolated. Let's try again. Yep, our scene is rendering just fine. So next thing is gonna be an environment map. It's just gonna be simple HDRI. I'm gonna use this one. I'm gonna make sure it's oriented the way we want it, so I will enable use environment background. I will check if the light is coming from the right angle. It seems there's a light somewhere around here, and this is exactly what we want, because as I said in the first part, we want our light source to be against the camera. But obviously this map is just a temporary environment. Now if I render, you can see our interior is quite dark, but at the same time, when we will be shading, we will be from time to time isolating our objects, and if we render them just solo in exterior, then our exposure is just about right. So there's a nice little trick we can do, what is basically select the camera, then add Corona camera modifier. Here I'm gonna enable exposure override. This is a new version of Corona. In older one, exposure is automatically overridden when you have a Corona camera modifier on it, so it will work as well. This workflow is gonna work in older version of Corona. So here I'm gonna boost the exposure to something like 4. Now if I render, you can see our interior is nice and bright. At the same time, if I go out to a perspective view and I isolate something, then exposure switches back to the perspective viewport exposure settings, and everything has correct exposure as well. Another nice thing about this is, let's just set it back to gradient color. I'm gonna choose better layout to work with. I want this one, okay. This is gonna be our space for slate material editor. This is gonna be our space for the interactive renderer, and this is gonna be our viewport space. Okay, so yeah, what I want to say is, if I now quickly enable interactive, let's just save the scene first. As you can see, if I'm in a perspective view in the exterior, then exposure is right for the exterior. Once I switch to the camera, exposure switches to the camera exposure, and I again see correct exposure in the interior. So this is basically ideal for what we want to do right now. Okay, so let's get our material editor back. Let's make it a little bit bigger so we have some space to work with. And basically, the first thing I would start with is the floor material. It's gonna be probably the easiest one. So yeah, let's do this one first. I'm gonna create Corona material. And actually, before I do that, I'm just gonna call this one clay. Gonna go back to the entire scene. Gonna select the entire scene. Gonna assign it to our scene. Now if I switch back to the... Oops, we did a little mistake. We don't want to assign it to portals. Now if I switch back, we got default gray Corona material over everything, not material less standard shading. Okay, so again, isolate our floor, then create new Corona material. Let's call it floor wood. Let's bring in a bitmap, and let's find something nice for the wooden floor. Something like looking old and rough, which is maybe this one, or maybe I don't know. Let's go. What's this? This looks also. This is too rough. Let's go with this one. Let's go with this one. Okay, lower the filtering. Put in diffuse color. Assign it. As you can see, we get some weird mapping over the entire thing. So here comes one trick in the place. First, I'm gonna suspend our interactive rendering for a while. Display our map in a viewport. I'm gonna create a box mapping, 1 by 1 by 1 meter. This is just to break UVs around the edges. Now, if we add unwrap UVW, you can see basically every edge that's over the right angle is being broken apart. That's what we want. Let's disable the map seams, open UV editor, select everything, and then just pack the UVs. it's gonna take a little while, so let's wait for a bit. And oops, yep, and we've got our UVs packed, as you can see here. And now if we just scale the entire UV space, scale it, oops, let's select everything and just scale it up even further. It doesn't really work the way I want it to, but maybe if we rotate it. It sometimes works, sometimes it does not, so we may want to come up with something else. I usually, when I did it, then it would arrange the planks automatically all in the same direction, so the mapping would be correct. But here it seems like it may need some manual cleanup, so maybe let's try that. If we select all of these and not these, and turn them around, but turn this one back this way, and turn also, oops, let's get these and these as well. Let's turn them a little bit. Okay, 90 degrees. These seem also just like we want basically all of them to be in the same direction, so the longer side is in the same direction. These two as well. This looks better. Then we're gonna rotate the entire thing again 90 degrees. Yep, that looks better. Then scale the entire thing down again like this, maybe a little further. Yep. And there are some slight seams, hopefully that won't be too much of a problem. Maybe if we shift it a little bit, so we don't see so much of them. It's probably some error in the texture, maybe my sloppy job when fixing the textures, but I'm okay with that for the tutorial purposes. And as you can see, it's mapped quite nicely. So let's collapse it, and let's enable the interactive render once again. Yep, that seems fine. And now let's just work on our floor. So reflection, again, mix map, mix amount to get monochromatic image, black and white. Let's also go to render settings and disable material editor. These maps will still refresh, but this won't, so material preview generation won't slow down interactive render. Let's put that in reflection color. Oops, set reflection to 1. Let's take a look what we've got. You can see, as I said in a previous lesson, I've introduced some slight noise into the floor, so you can see it's a little bit bumpy. It looks nice. Of course, not when the reflection is mirror-like like this one. So let's get also an output map. I'm gonna show you the reference image I'm working with here. This is something that I used to model the scene from. It's roughly, the scene is inspired by this image. It's not completely the same. As you can see, the floor is kind of rough and not really shiny. So that's what I'm going for. Let's put it in the reflection glossiness. Let's crank up the glossiness a little bit. And as you can see, it's maybe too contrasty, so let's decrease the contrast by introducing some offset. 1.5. And same here, decrease. Maybe we don't need to map reflection at all. Let's just the rougher the material is, when it's non-metal material but it's rough, I usually tend to increase the Fresnel to something like 2.2, so we get more of a or like 2, so we get more of a reflection sheen with low glossiness materials. Let's go back to this, maybe put the contrast back on. Again, it's a little bit about tweaking. And if I go back and take a look in the context with the rest of my scene, maybe make it a little rougher. Okay, this is fine. So yeah. Let's again isolate it. Let's make it a little bit more bumpy, so I will use the same map for the bump slot. Not too bumpy, so again, I'm using a version of Corona where a default bump intensity is a bit lower, so in this case you can see it's not as strong by default as it used to be. So I think at this point I'm pretty satisfied with default bump volume. So now we're going to get in a real fun. We're gonna create some wearing of the wooden floor so it looks a little more interesting. So let's get Corona AO. Let's get mix. Let's plug mix in the diffuse. Let's plug Corona AO in a mix amount. Let's change the occluded color to red so we see what's going on. At output, so we can clamp the AO, invert normals, go real hard on ambient occlusion, so we're gonna really amplify the effect by clamping it like this and decrease the radius, and we can go even lower, like this. This is nice. Okay, next thing, actually, let's just grab this map, mix amount, and let's get real crazy with this. So maybe 5, 10, minus 0.5, make it real contrasty. Put it into occluded color. As you can see, we got now a real nice scratching on the edges. Maybe we can dampen the effect a little bit by increasing the contrast of the map further, because we are controlling the occluded color, so the more white it is, the more broken apart is this gonna be. And once we've got this effect established, then we can just plug our wood in the other color slot, and in our scratches we're gonna take also the wood. Actually, this one here, I'm sorry, this one went there. This is the glossiness map. And let's get another output. Let's oops, I'm sorry, I got a little bit stuck here. So yep, this is our second output, and this will go into the weathered or the scratched input. I'm gonna make it brighter, and more washed out, as a scratched wood would look like, but at the same time a little bit of contrast, not make it so obvious. This is, let's maybe not overdo it so much. Yep, this is kinda nice for the moment. I may also lower the radius even further, so it's not a spread. This is more like it. And now we're basically using ambient occlusion modified with some color and clamped as a mix amount. So now we can put the same thing in reflection color, where color 2 is our original reflection amount. So if the reflection was like if the reflection was full here, then color 2 will return white, but the scratched parts will usually have a lot less of reflection, and also a lot rougher reflection. So in the reflection color 1 is gonna be dark, and let's duplicate it one more into reflection glossiness. And here, if we look from the angle, we can see we got mirror reflection once again. So we're gonna lower the glossiness here, but lower it a lot more for the scratch parts. And so now, even if we look from the entire scene, it's not maybe so obvious in the small resolution of the preview render, but those scratches will be really obvious even against the window reflection. So we will really see there's something going on in there. If I isolate it once more, look against the light, you can really see those scratches showing in those corners. And now you saw me do one mistake here. We forgot that we've already mapped the glossiness, so actually all we need to do is just take this modified glossiness version of our map and plug it here. So again, we may want to boost it a little bit, like 1.8. So there's contrast between non-scratched surfaces there's contrast in glossiness between non-scratched surface and the scratched surface. This one may need to go even lower, like this. And let's go like 2. Yep, this is the nice rough worn floor that we wanted. Okay, so I think this is it for the floor material. This is at the moment I'm quite satisfied with it. So the next thing we're probably gonna do is the walls material. So again, isolate walls. Here I'm gonna do kind of tough decision, because I want to see what I'm doing. I'm not gonna see that in the interior. So let's do some messing with the model. I'm probably gonna take this, and also this, and I'm gonna detach it as a separate object. I'm gonna call it other walls, just some random name. Now if I isolate this, go to interactive, then we've got part of our interior laid by exterior with a good exposure, so we can see what we're doing. Alright, so this is our floorboard. Portrait material, this one can go away. Let's put everything somewhere. And another corner material, this time stone brick wall, like this. And let's find some nice stone bricks that roughly match our reference image. Let's try stone bricks. This looks kinda nice. This looks nice too. Hey, this one, dirty wall, yeah. I hope it's seamless. It should be dirty wall, so dirty wall. Lower the filtering, put it in diffuse, assign it. Again, totally messed up mapping, so box, enable viewport display, and let's go like 2 by 2 by 2 meters. And yep, that actually looks surprisingly good. Okay. So first thing I'm gonna do, it's probably a little bit dark, so let's make it slightly washed out at the same time. Let's make it also slightly brighter, like this. We want to somehow cover the discontinuity on the edges. And at the same time, we can see there's some significant edge wearing present pretty much everywhere. So let's utilize ambient occlusion map once again. Well, actually, in this case, what we could try to do, and that's gonna pay off in the long run, is let's try to use Solburn script corner edge to vertex map, which is it has to be editable poly first. Let's see what that does. Actually, it requires a little bit of tweaking to get all the right angles out, but yeah, I think this is doing what we want. So let's yep, I'm happy with that. And so now let's say this is what we want to be weathered, where the weathering of the material is gonna be, but also we've modeled some of these like wall damages. So now if I try vertex paint, hopefully it won't be too slow, I can actually paint weathering also everywhere where the wall damage is. So for example here, also let's maybe disable the texture for a while. Oh, this is not really helping, but never mind, let's turn it back on. That's better. There was also some wall damage here, right here. I can see it. So here again, paint in the vertex color map. And if you want something a little bit broken anywhere, material wise, it's just going to be material effect. We can just paint, you know, paint the vertex color, and damage will show up in there. So yep, let's not spend too much time on it. We don't have too much time, so let's keep it that way. Again, save the scene, launch the interactive render, and again, let's have some fun. This time vertex color fun, output, so we can choke it again, mix, this is color 2, this is mix amount, and if we just disable the vertex channel display here, So if we set this to red, then we got all the damaged areas masked out, which is nice. Again, we need to modify it with some color. First of all, again, clamp it pretty much a lot. This is extreme. Okay, and again, find some nice bitmap for the weathering, which in this case could be just some random broken stone texture. Let's find something real quick. This looks good. Let's go with that. So vertex color is gonna be a mix amount, where the white color would be this, black color would be this. Let's get up close and let's play with this texture. Let's see how it is mapped first. Increase detailing, and let's play with the color mapping parameters. Maybe our clamping here is too strong, so let's make it more gradual like this. Back to our weathering texture. Yep, so let's get back to clamping, do some better job at clamping this. Go back to this texture. It's a little bit of tweaking. This is good. This is one I want to go with. And of course we can again play with the vertex color map, so the weathering is not so even, but obviously we can do it also in the shading network. So let's do that. Let's get noise. Use noise as our mix amount. Use fractal noise. Let's compress it down a little bit together, like this. So the red parts are where the weathering is gonna be, white parts where it's not gonna be. So now if we plug this into the noise itself, you can see we've broken the weathering apart. And we can again play with the noise so we don't break it apart too much. That's nice. So you can see now it's not so even. And again, we can modify the noise itself, the entire output of this shading network, to do some final tweaking. So again, we can take this noise and maybe make it a little bit deeper. At the same time, increase the contrast or decrease the contrast. I think I'm just gonna do this and call it done. Great. So now that we have established the masking for our weathering, all we need to do is find some good bitmap. And since we wanna kind of cover the contact edges, then we do not wanna use some pattern. Instead, we're gonna use just some regular random textures. So something that looks like it has been processed, not something that looks like straight from the nature. So maybe this one. Let's try this one. Again, plug it here. Yep, this looks actually pretty nice. And again, let's color map it a little bit. So disable this. Let's add contrast. It always looks good when there is some contrast on the edges, but at the same time it's not so different color-wise to the other texture. And we see there's some feature repetition. What we can do in this case is set this to map channel 2, add another box mapping, bead map channel 2, and let's twist the texture mapping gizmo around so it's a little more random. And it's a little more saturated, so add color correction, desaturate it a little, make it a little bit brighter so it's a little stronger effect. I keep saying little all the time, it's kind of starting to get old. And yeah, this is for the edge weathering. So next thing, I'm probably gonna use the source map for the bump slot as well. This is kind of rough material, so we can go higher with the bump. Reflective properties of the material as well. So let's take a look at our texture. We're probably gonna wanna get these deep like crevices between the breaks less reflective. So basically just put it in a mix amount, but swap these two colors. Great. Put it as a reflection color. Again, for the rougher material, increase the Fresnel. Set this to 1 for now. Choke this map a little bit so we get more of the black color. And let's go lower with the RGB level, 0.5, 0.3, 0.4. Let's see how it looks. Looks okay for now. And do the same for reflection glossiness. So let's put an output in there so we can control it. Plug in the reflection glossiness. Let's get back to our interior so we see what we're kind of doing. And if we go, you know what? Let's disable the diffuse. Let's mute the bump. And let's focus solely on the reflection. So if we go higher with glossiness, this is too high, like 1.5. We can see here what we're doing, and this is what I'm happy with. So again, put the diffuse back, put the bump back, and for now it looks like I could call this material done. Okay, so next will be, alright, but before we proceed to the plaster material, you can see there are some like slimy weird highlights on the stone features of the room. This is because as we have built these features with a weathering, as you can see, what I forgot to do is to make the worn features a lot less reflective. So if there's a reflection color of 0.5, then just duplicate this mix. Color 1 is the weathering color, color 2 is the regular. So it goes in the reflection color. Color 1 is gonna be not reflective at all. It's the worn parts. Color 2 is gonna be 64 gray because it was 0.25 here. So I've masked out the reflection using our weathering mask right here. Yep, so this should improve this thing slightly. As you can see, those highlights are not so strong here anymore. Yeah, so let's go on with the ceiling. It's gonna be easy one. I'm not gonna do any weathering here. Actually, I'm gonna do one last pass of the weathering over the entire scene at the end, so I'm planning ahead. Let's call it ceiling plaster bitmap. Do we have plaster here? Let's see, plaster right here. Let's find something nice. Hey, you know, actually that one was quite nice. Let's see if I get back to there, back to that. Plaster. I want that plaster bear 120. Let's take that where it is. Plaster bear 120. Dial down filtering, put in diffuse, put it on there, enable display, again no coordinates, just boom, put box on it, and let's rotate box, whoops, rotate a gizmo a few times so it's mapped properly. Let's try fit, this time nope, rotate it this way, 90 degrees, oops, fit. Nope, not again. Actually, if I just this is gonna take a while probably. Hey, this looks like what I wanted to achieve. Yep, I'm going with this. Let's maybe increase. No, let's keep the tiling the way it is. Let's make it a little bit more contrasty. So again, that might be a little bit too much. Let's see how it looks in our camera. And you know what? Maybe if we did just planar, would that work better? Not really. Let's keep it box. Let's do 5 by 5 by 5. Yep, this looks like this could work. Okay, let's get back in the interior to see how it looks with the rest of our scene. It's bright. It could be a little brighter because, you know, on our reference image it's bright, it's really bright. It's actually not so contrasty, so let's put this back to 0. Okay, isolate it once again. Let's take a look from it, at least from the outside. Typical bump, increase the bump, disable the bump temporarily, disable this, map output, reflection, again 2.2.2, reflection glossiness, and increase the contrast. Not so much, not nearly so much. 0.8. Yep, this is what I want to go with. Enable diffuse, enable the bump, and this is it for the simple ceiling material. Let's take a look back at our entire scene. Okay, save the scene. There are these simple small tiles. We're gonna cheat a little bit here and just use what we've already got, stone features. Map it, do box 2 by 2 by 2. It doesn't look that bad. let's take a look at our interior. And yep, this is it. So what's the remaining? Usually when I do scene shading, as you saw, I've assigned this clay material to everything. So now if I pick the clay material and I select by the material and I isolate it, then whoops, what the hell? Yep, if I isolate it now, these are the parts of the scene that are remaining to be shaded. Okay, so next one will be probably metal for these window grids and also the wall torches. After that we will do just wood, the ceramics for this jug, dirt, and then we are finished with the shading phase. Okay, so we are doing metal. Let's get on with this and let's isolate our metal parts. Okay, duplicate our clay material, name it metal. We're going for sort of like the dark medieval old metal, so we need obviously some metal texture, bare, and like something rougher but not completely rough, like this is good. Okay, let's put it into our metal diffuse slot. Again, map our objects. So first display the texture box. Again, we don't really care. 0.5 by 0.5. Maybe also increase the tiling by 2 and lower the filtering. That's great. Now what we want diffuse to be real dark. So let's modify the texture with output 0.5, 0.4 maybe. Yep, that looks good. Next thing we want to do is reflection map. So again, output, it's metal, so Fresnel is going to be fairly high. Reflection color, reflection level to 1, but our reflection color is not going to be very contrasty. We're going to leave up to the glossiness map. So just boost the reflection a little bit, like this. Duplicate, reflection glossiness. Here it's gonna get more interesting. Yep, this looks nice and metallic, but maybe increase the contrast again. Compensate with RGB level. Oh, oops, sorry, I have selected the wrong node. I was kind of wondering what the hell is going on in there. This one. Okay, so this was like this, and here introduce some contrast. Yep, that looks quite metallic. Okay, so again some weathering. If it was like the major material in the scene for close-up, I would also do some like rust in corners, but these features, these wall torches and grid, it's gonna be real tiny, so I'm not gonna bother. I'm just gonna do some slight edge scratching. Therefore, mix, again the usual workflow, put it in the diffuse, output, Corona ambient occlusion, which is here, plug it in the output, plug output in the mix amount. Let's make it with red color so we see exactly what we're doing. Invert it, decrease the radius, even lower, we want to get really just the edges. Yep, this looks like what I wanted to get. Enable color map, clamp it again like this. You can see here we have a little bit of a problem. Let's fix it in the mesh. Oops, it's gonna be a little bit tricky. Maybe if we do push and push it a little bit inwards. Yes, this will work. It will still have some artifacts inside, but that's okay for now. Okay, again, where's our scratches map? Let's steal it. Is it this one? It's this one. Let's steal our scratches map. Whoop. And let's bring it out here. Again, occluded color. Let's see how it maps. Again, messed up mapping. So, why is it? Oh, there we go. Stack didn't refresh. It's a new bug in Max 2016, I'm afraid. So let's boost the tiling here to like 4. And maybe also increase the radius ever so slightly. Oh, what the hell? Okay, let's keep it that way then. Okay, so again, plug this in the color 2. In the color 1, we want something brighter. In our reflection color, we want it a little more reflective, so reflection color 2 is gonna be what it was. Reflection color 1 is gonna be brighter. Then reflection glossiness, again in slot 2 goes what we had, and in slot 1 is gonna be more rougher because it's scratched on the edges. It means the surface will be a bit more rough. And the most important part for the metals, when metal is exposed, there's less paint, in this case less like dirt, then it's also obviously more metallic, so we will just map the Fresnel IOR, where for the regular like paint will be what we had there, so Fresnel IOR 3.2. For the exposed part, it's gonna be a little more metallic, so like 6. I'm gonna also name it so it doesn't get messy. Okay, let's IOR 6.0, IOR 3.2. Okay, let's also add a little bit of bump, maybe decrease it actually. And now if you look at the highlights, we can see how the scratches are propagated. It's not really obvious here, I'm afraid, but it usually shows somewhere. At least here you can see how edges are picking up a bit more of the highlights. Okay, how it looks on here, also nice. We can see some nice scratches on the edges of those bars. Okay, and if we look at our entire scene again, then it's small resolution, we don't see much, but we've seen it from up close, so obviously it's gonna probably look just nice in the final resolution. Again, first deselect before we do select by name. Then select lay, go select by name, isolate this selection. For some reason it adds also this object that already, actually, does it by any chance have maybe like more materials on it? I'm just curious. So if I pick material from here, no, it doesn't. So I have no idea why select the name picks also that object. Guess it's another bug. But yeah, so what's remaining are 3 materials: wood for these two, ceramics for this, and dirt for this. So let's focus on wood. Actually, we have already floor wood, which is right here. So we're gonna steal it, duplicate it. Let's call it furniture wood. And for now, just assign it to this. Let's map it with box. And I didn't really map this object before, so we'll have to break it apart a little bit and map some parts individually. But you can see how whatever object I put this material on, it looks kind of natural, and the scratching looks kind of nice. So yeah, first show mapping here, and let's do a little bit of mapping work. So okay, take these two, add box. We are mapping just these polygons, so we want to make sure the direction is somewhat consistent. Yep, looks nice. But you can see if we look from this angle, this is exactly the same as this, so let's just rotate the texture slightly. Therefore, it will look different. Okay, collapse it. Again, pick these parts. Again, same dimensions of the, same dimensions of the box mapping. And again, rotate so our wood is in the correct direction, which it looks it is. Again, collapse this part. I should have done this before, so I'm not wasting the time here, but you know. Oops, get a gizmo. Yep, looks good. From here, looks good too. Okay, let's take the tabletop. Again, why is it like, I can't really see through that, but okay. Box, again, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. This is going this direction. This we will fix later. This is supposed to go this way. This is going this way, and this is not going the right way. This is gonna go this way now. This is going this way. This is going this way. This is going this way. That's good. And all we need to do is take these polygons, these and these, to select whatever else we've selected, and do one more, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. And this is going the wrong way, so let's rotate it. This is going the wrong way as well, so let's rotate it. And this is going the wrong way as well, so let's rotate this as well. This is going this way, this is going this way, and this is going this way. Good. This is perfect. So now we finally can do some shading. Basically, all I really want to do is to swap the texture so things don't look the same. I have had this nice rough texture I was looking at before. This. Okay. Rotate it 90 degrees. And obviously we will do just some slight fixing of the weathering. So first, ambient occlusion, decrease the radius. Ambient occlusion, break the texture apart a little bit more. Like this. Now okay. Maybe increase the tiling here to like 2 by 2. This. This is actually a bit more saturated than I want to, but it doesn't look that bad. Let's make it slightly more glossy, so this tries reflection glossiness. Let's crank this up a little bit, like this. In general, I would just boost the texture here. Let's see how it looks in our room. Too dark. I'm not sure about this. This is too large. Let's set the tiling back to 1 by 1. This is more like it. Yep. All right. This is for the table. Actually, no, it's not. It's not. We want to do another layer of weathering. So, nope. Get another mix. Put it in the diffuse. Get another corner ambient occlusion and get another output. Plug this here, plug this here. Make this red. And this time it's gonna be regular ambient occlusion, so clamp it real good. Okay. We will use this in here as a occluded color. But obviously decrease the radius a little bit. 0.1 maybe, yep. .05. Clamp it a little bit more. I want to get this wood nice and worn and used. And this is maybe a little bit too much. Yep. All right. This goes in here. And in there is gonna go darker version of the wood, so the other way around. Okay, and also it's gonna be a lot less reflective in there, like this. Oh, this is maybe too dark, so let's go 1. Yep, the reflection, absence of reflection is actually doing most of the darkness. Okay, this is what I'm happy with. Let's wait for our interactive render to refresh. Let's just save, because I'm starting to panic it will crash eventually. Even it didn't so far, so kudos to Corona Render Interactive. And oh, you see there are little bolts here. Those are metal, which means we will put metal material on them. Map it with something like 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. Okay, good. Yeah, so this tool, Great. Let's go with cylindrical for this one. So just cylindrical. Let's see how it looks. Enable capping. Oops. Ouch. This is quite unfortunate, because the texture is rotated the wrong way, but because of the table we cannot rotate it, so let's just collapse it. Open the unwrap editor, take everything, rotate UVs 90 degrees, if I ever manage to grab it. That's more like it. Okay. Now quick and dirty mapping of this. So again, add wood. 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. Direction is good for these, not for those. So let's pick up all the horizontal parts. Again, another box. Again, lazy mapping, really lazy mapping. Because we are really lazy people. And something weird is going on here for some reason. Let's try once more. Hopefully this time. What the hell? Oh, there we go. Sorry, my bad. 90 degrees. Disable it so we can see what we're doing, and it's horizontal everywhere. Squish it a little bit so we get more of the wooden structure. We don't care about this, no one's gonna see anyway. Again, as you can see, the procedurality of the material works just fine. So we get this weathering on the edges, we get this dirt in the corners, everything looks nice. And let's exit. Get back to our camera. Everything looks nice, so I'm gonna save it. Yep. Select by name. Then select the buggy object. And yeah, so aside from the dirt, there's just junk. This is gonna be a real quick one again. So let's call it ceramics. Diffuse. Let's go with something like, I don't know, marble. Do we have some marble here? Something I could use on another. Oh, this maybe. I'm just improvising at this point. Put it on an object. This is gonna be real dark actually, so like 0.3, 0.5. 0.5. I want it tinted a little bit, so let's go with RGB multiply. Let's make it brownish color. Point 4, 0.3. Cylindrical mapping. Fit it. Yep. It will look okay from the distance, I guess. So yeah. Rougher material, so increase Fresnel a little bit. Again, mix amount so we get monochromatic color for our reflection color. You may want to boost this just slightly. Actually, no, we don't. And yep. This goes to reflection glossiness. Again, just boost it. And this will go to bump. I actually could do some weathering for this as well, like some dirt in the corners, but I think for such a small detail, and considering this is a tutorial, I guess that would be really pointless. I think this will be sufficient for now. Okay, so let's get back to our camera view. And yeah, everything looks great. Maybe these tiles sticking out a bit too much. It's maybe due to the ambient occlusion thingy. If we isolate it along with this, then yeah, this is our problem. So what we are going to do quickly is just a cheap trick. I'm gonna duplicate this material, but I'm gonna keep the shading network of the previous one. I'm gonna assign it to these, but I'm gonna modify the output, make it unique for this material, which is gonna be 0.3, 0.4. Yep, so these will be darker. Okay, let's save again. One more thing, you see in this picture, you can see how kinda the breaks blend into this like plaster here, and somewhere like here and here. And since we've already set up something a bit similar, then we can easily add those details to make things look a bit less synthetic again. So I'm gonna suspend the interactive rendering for just a while, collapse this. I'm gonna get vertex pane on the top. I'm gonna display our vertex channel, and you can see wherever there's black, there's this like plaster. So you know, let's take not completely black color, but like this, and let's do some painting here, like to get that nice random kind of blending of the breaks with a plaster material. So just like paint randomly here and there, this thing as well. There was some like little bit of it like in here and maybe in here and just a little bit in here. So now if we return to the interactive and exit the camera, so we got better exposure, you can see how we added more of that nice detail in there. Okay, and the last thing we will do, which will wrap up the shading part, will be the overall dirt to help us kinda ground the scene together. Okay, so let's get on with that. I'm gonna, oops, I don't want this, let's collapse it. I want to select a few of the features that will be contributed to, will be affected with the overall dirt, and let's create a new Corona material. Let's just call it temp because it's going to be temporary, and let's enable the material override, and let's assign this material to the override. Great. Let's get a mix. Okay, let's add it to the diffuse, and mix amount will be once again ambient occlusion, Corona AO, like this, and the color is gonna be red. So again, we see what we are doing. Great. In this case, again, I'm gonna strongly clamp it. And I'm gonna get some like real dirty, worn, old texture like this. This is nice. This is actually gonna be our dirt. Let's see how it maps. And we're gonna make it even darker and deeper. It's really gonna be just crazy. Alright, this is what I'm happy with, but we also need to kind of control the distribution a little better. So let's make occluded color and noise. Let's clamp the noise a bit, like this. Let's make it fractal, 10 levels, no blurring. This is perfect. Decrease the radius. I actually want this to kind of match the color of the scene a little bit better, so let's match it color-wise a little closer to the rest of our scene. Yep. Let's ease up on the noise a little bit, make it a little more gradual. Okay, let's decrease the radius a little more. Yep, this is nice. Okay, so now we need to just incorporate this to the rest of our materials. So that means we will, for now, disable the override. And actually we do not need to be messing with any kind of reflectivity properties because this dirt is going to be completely diffuse. It's not going to be reflective in any way. So let's just take this shading network and let's start hooking it up with our materials. So the materials which are going to be affected are first of the ceiling. So let's duplicate a mix. Diffuse will go here and duplicate it once more. Reflection here is 0.2, which means like which is something like, I don't know, 40. Yes, let's say 40. The reflection color 1 is going to be completely black because it won't have any reflection. So now if we take a look at, if we isolate the ceiling, for example, we should see that dirty detail in there. It's a little bit dark, unfortunately. Maybe if we go into the camera, yep, we can see the nice dirt in there. Okay, so next part will be metal, not metal. Let's clean up the metal somewhere where it doesn't obstruct. Our wooden floor will have dirt as well, so let's try that. Again, duplicate these two. Diffuse will go here and here. Reflection color is mapped, great, so it will just go here and here. And we can see nice dirt here in the corners of the wooden floor. Great. Next, same will apply for the stone bricks, which are here. So duplicate these two. Again, diffuse result will go into color 2, color will go here. Reflection color is mapped, so again, this will go into color 2, this will go in here. And we got dirt on the bricks. Next material is the stone features. same story again. Yeah, sorry, got a little bit lost here. So get these two, put them here, and again diffuse goes in the color 2, result goes in a diffuse, reflection color goes in a color 2, result goes back in a reflection color. And I think this is it for the materials that will have dirt. Again, dirt is maybe a little bit too much here, so now we can globally control the entire dirt by perhaps easing the curve a little bit. So let's make it more like this, and this, let's choke it again, and let's decrease the radius a little bit more to like 0.3, and maybe also not make the dirt so dark, so increase the RGB level slightly more. And yep, let's take a look at our scene, how it looks, also saved. Yeah, maybe ease up on the dirt a little bit more. But the dirt will help to blend all the scene elements nicely together. And the last thing we need to do is just take our dirt material, which I've accidentally deleted. So let's get new Corona material. Name it dirt. Put a result in there. No, just put this straight in there. Assign it here. Map this like 2 by 2, 1 by 1, 2 by 2. And this is the plastic dirt that I've modeled in the modeling phase of this tutorial. All right. Now we have also some like accumulated dirt in the corners of the scene, and I think this is it for the shading part. Our scene is now completely shaded, and in the next part we will just light it, add some volume, and I guess that will be it. So see you later.